Good evening and welcome to Artful Evening. I feel a little bit like I'm doing an FDR fireside chat sitting here talking to you, but that's kind of nonsensical and not at all true. So I am so delighted that you are joining us tonight for the Arts Partnership's first sort of post-COVID, maybe a little bit return to normal experience of Artful Evening, and I am so, so grateful to the donations that you have already given to support the programming of the Arts Partnership. So we're going to have a lovely evening planned for you. I hope that you have already gotten out your food from Blackboard and Nicole's and are enjoying your drinks from Bernie's, and I hope that you are ready to spend about the next hour with us in Dr. Julie Blehm's home. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to watch 2 videos of some of the recent individual Arts Partnership grantees, and then we'll come back and talk to Julie.
Hi, I'm Josh Zeiss, and I've been doing ceramics now for about 13 years. This is going to be the very first time that I'm going to own my own kiln. So thanks to the Individual Arts Partnership grant, that's finally doable, and I can start my own production and become a real potter. Thank you. I'm a real potter.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan Duda and I am an experimental landscape photographer focusing on place and ecology. I'm super excited about this Individual Arts Partnership grant that's going to help me at an artist residency this summer at the McKenna House, where I'm going to go and make photogenic drawings of the prairie ecology and the North Dakota landscape. The process was super simple to apply and I encourage you all to do it. Thanks.
So that's 2 of the 12 grantees from this year, and these videos are so thrilling to me because, you know, we had to cancel Artful Evening last year, so we had no way of knowing if we would even be able to offer grants this year, and because some of you stepped in and sent money, even though we didn't do this event last year, we were able to give out some grants, and I'll talk more about that later in the evening. But I do want to introduce you now to the star of our evening, Dr. Julie Blehm. She's so graciously opened up her home to us, and you are about to see an incredible art tour of many of Julie's pieces, but let's talk to Julie quickly. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
I think it's perfectly appropriate that we are in front of the Kiki Smith.
Yes.
Yes, because when I think of you,
Lake.
I think of this piece. Yeah, this is, I think, maybe Julie's most iconic piece of art, and you'll get to see some of that when we go on the tour. But Julie, first of all, thank you for opening up your home, not 1 year, but 2 years. So, you know, when we canceled last year, we had no way of knowing that we would still be in this funny boat this year, but we figured out a way to do it, and I'm so delighted to be here with you.
Well, thank you. I am delighted that you're here and that everyone who is watching is able to see this.
Yeah.
So, and it's a beautiful day outside, so what a perfect day for Artful Evening.
Absolutely. So I think we will just get on with the tour. This is sort of the main course of the evening, but don't go away because there's lots more coming up after this, but I cannot wait for you to tour Julie's house and see her art with her. Let's go right to that. Okay, so we're not going to see all of Julie's collection, and I just have to say that I haven't been to Julie's house through COVID. So when I walked in, I was reminded of what an extraordinary collection this is. So enjoy the pieces that you are going to get to see, but in the interest of not making this a 4-hour art tour, we're just going to highlight some of the most amazing pieces. So Julie, would you tell us about the piece above the mantle, please?
Yes. This piece is a Charles Beck. He titled it Purple Sky. I believe we purchased this piece at the Rourke, as we did the sculpture of the bird. My husband loved both of these pieces, and I do too, so they've been lovely. And it's a nice reminder now that Mr. Beck is gone, that we have these pieces of his.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had no idea he painted until about 4 years ago when I bought those 2 little pieces and felt like I'd struck gold.
Yeah, yeah, he does a lovely job.
Yeah. Did he do a lot of sculpture?
He had some, yeah, especially wildlife, birds, and that type of thing. I've seen several of his.
Yeah.
Not sure a lot, but I've seen several pieces.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right. Let's move on to the piece of art in your house. Nobody can miss this piece.
No, this piece is one that everybody tends to remember if they've seen it. It's called Blue Lake, and it's by an artist called Kiki Smith. And what's so really incredible about it, it was done many years ago when there was only one 360-degree camera in the United States. Not in the United States, in Great Britain, it was in the world. And she sat for hours while this camera slowly went around her to take this picture. And then she spread it out flat and added all sorts of things, like the flower and some of the other markings. So it's an incredible piece.
And do you know her? Did you, I mean, you have kind of a long history with her work.
Well, yes. Again, my husband absolutely loved her work, and you'll see several more pieces down here. But she, I don't think I ever met her. In fact, I know I didn't. But David met her at something in Grand Forks, I believe.
Okay.
And she knew Laurel Reuter at the North Dakota Museum of Art.
Doesn't everyone
Yes.
use anyone? Yes.
And so that's kind of how we learn more about her. She's rather a unique woman. We also have a book she's done that's called Endocrinology, and it's pictures of the different endocrine organs in the body that she has drawn on and changed things around on.
And what are the endocrine organs?
Like the pancreas.
Oh, okay.
Is the
All right.
biggest one, I think of. And it's not really only endocrine organs. She also has the kidney in there, and I think she has the heart in there, which is not an endocrine organ.
Obviously.
But very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
These pieces, this is a piece we bought at a gallery in Santa Fe, New Mexico that I just loved. And I have to always look up the person who does it because I can never remember the name. It's Shihoko Fukumoto.
Oh, well, that does not just trip off our tongues.
No, it doesn't. And I love the piece, and it's actually dyed textile, dyed indigo, and then she's worked on top of that background.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. The next one is Luis Palma, and we saw him, it's a gelatin silver print, and we saw him in a gallery somewhere, and also at the North Dakota Museum of Art. They had a showing of his work that was on the Civil War in Guatemala. And it was kind of a sobering
I bet it was.
display. And he even had nails and hair from people who had been killed during that Civil War worked into his art. And David wanted one of those pieces. And I said, I don't want someone else's hair or fingernails on my wall.
Fair.
And so we found this piece in a Chicago art gallery that we both loved.
Yeah, she's stunning.
Yes. And the other reason it means a lot to us is our nephew, who has since passed away from cancer, was adopted by my sister and her husband from Guatemala.
From Guatemala.
So it means a lot to us.
I think David and Wayne Zimmerman and David Hasbargen have some pieces too. So if you were at Artful Evening a couple of years ago, you may have seen other pieces from that show.
They do have palmas.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So this is another Kiki Smith. She
another
does
small piece of art.
Yes.
Wow.
And this piece is fascinating because what she did is laid on a glass table, and it had the light coming from below up. And then she added all this other collage and print and all the things. And you can see where the light's coming up under her.
Yeah.
So she does very interesting things.
Still living?
Yes.
Okay.
To my knowledge.
Still producing.
And still producing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But lives where?
Well, at one time she was living in New Mexico with another artist, Nauman, I think. Bruce Nauman, I think is his name. And he had a showing when we were in New York once at the Metropolitan.
Oh.
And so that was kind of interesting.
Absolutely.
Whether they're still together, I have no idea.
Sure, sure. Wow.
So.
Yeah, you got to have a big wall to pull off a Kiki
big wall.
Yeah, and much less two on the same wall. Big walls. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we always, when we bought a house, we kind of looked at wall space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You have to. That's why all my art is like postage size.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So this is a small piece by Posvit, one of our local artists.
Oh, yep.
I think his first name is John.
John? Yeah, one of the two.
And then this is Dwayne Michaels, who was a photographer who I don't know if he's still alive. Again, another piece we bought at the North Dakota Museum of Art at one of their exhibits. And he's a photographer who did a lot of fashion photography, like Chris Crawford, Kim, all those big names. But this is what he did for his real passion, is this type of art. And he created quite a scene in the 90s when they had this exhibit, because he had a lot of nudes.
Okay.
And Grand Forks, some people were quite unhappy about that.
That's surprising for North Dakota.
What I remember.
Yeah.
But we spent a lot of time talking to him. He was at the exhibit at the big gala fundraiser. Fascinating man. Fascinating.
As so many artists are. Absolutely.
Very interesting.
Okay, let's move on.
So these we'll go through rather quickly. Vicki Grafferton, a series of 3. We saw one of her pieces, I think it was maybe at Grinnell when our son was there. And she was at the University of Wisconsin at the time.
Okay.
Really don't know where she is now, but we just really liked her work. The next piece, which is quite interesting, is Zhu Bing, who is an artist who fled in the 80s China.
Okay.
The whole communist issue. And we met him. He worked at the North Dakota Museum of Art and UND for a while.
Wow.
But many years ago. He's since moved on, I believe, to New York. So these are Mike Marth. We like his work, and I think we actually went to his studio and saw these and got them.
That's the first time I met him, too. He's got boxes and boxes of nuts and bolts and coffee beans. And
his studio is so interesting.
Really interesting, yes.
And so we've enjoyed these two. I've enjoyed these 2 pieces, too, very much.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, his detail work, I think, is what makes his stuff so incredible. Because, again, he's got 50,000 screws.
He does.
You know, there's just...
And then there's some really kind of regular things, like this has a coffee cup in it. And yet it's not your run-of-the-mill picture of a coffee cup.
No, it's not. It's a Mike Marth coffee cup, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. All right, tell this story, Julie, because it's worth telling.
These 2 are pieces David bought in Chicago. He was at a meeting there, and he always hits art galleries. I was never quite sure what he'd bring home, and he had these shipped home. And they didn't come, and we called FedEx, and they said, boy, he delivered them. And so we went out and looked at our fenced-in backyard. They put it in our fenced-in backyard, even though they could see the dog running around. So these pieces were out of the package, they were wet, and the dog had done a little chewing on them.
A little snacking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was not happy and said we should make FedEx pay for them and we'd send them back. And David goes, no, you know, I really think they add a little character to these pieces. So we still have them.
So you still have them.
The dog bites.
Well, it is a good story.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. And the artist is Vladimir Kora, who I had never heard of before. But they're very interesting.
Yes, they are. And they fit perfectly.
Yes.
I mean, this is big art for me, Julie.
Yeah. So they're on either side of our thermostat.
Of your thermostat. You know, you can class up a thermostat with a couple pieces of art. All right.
This piece is a Fritz Shoulder, which many people know that name. He was a pretty well-known Native American artist who was born in North Dakota and actually went to the Wahpeton Indian School, which he had stories about.
I'm sure.
And he sat in our living room with Walter Peel one night in Minot.
Wow.
Until late. I think it was after midnight. And I finally went to bed. But David and Walter and Fritz sat up and had a very lengthy discussion. He, too, was quite an interesting man.
That's what I hear. Wow.
He and Walter had been around the countryside looking for animals with like 3 heads or 5 legs, or not sure why, but that's what they'd been doing.
Well, all right then.
So, and it was when he was doing the big fundraising event in Minot for something.
Okay.
And they had posters, and he did a piece of art up on the stage in the Minot Auditorium that was pretty remarkable, like in 20 minutes. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Oh, and then your Marc Chagall piece.
Marc Chagall. And this time, David and I were at a meeting in New York City, and we were wandering through art galleries, and I loved this piece.
Yep.
And of course, it's a print. There's no way I could afford a original Marc Chagall, but
this is one of those particular prints.
Yeah.
It's not like a Target print.
No.
I mean, I would be fine if it was, but I happen to believe it's not. Yeah.
So I really still, to this day, it's called The Wedding. I love this piece.
I do too. You want to hear some incredible tidbit about Marc Chagall? He designed the set for the original premiere of Fiddler on the Roof on Broadway.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
How interesting.
I know. And the set was incredible because it was kind of moody and dreamy like this, and like the musical is, really. Yeah. Wow.
Amazing.
All right, let's move on to the next room.
This is a Jeff Simmons called Blessing. And I actually don't remember where we got that or when we got it, but David and I both liked it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
This is a local artist that many of us know, Emily Williams Wheeler. And
What?
I actually bought that in a gallery in Bismarck about 3 or 4 years ago. I was in Bismarck for something, walked into this gallery, and loved this piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great piece. I would not have guessed that was Emily's. Interesting.
Yeah. So I think she calls it Spot of Pink.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep. Then this is another one of my favorite pieces. It's a Jasper Johns print.
Okay.
And it's called After Holbein. So that Hans Holbein.
Yes.
You can see kind of the outline of the hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we both love that one too. I think we got that one from a gallery in Williston, North Dakota, when Rex Wieterander and his wife Carol had an incredible gallery in Williston when they were alive.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wait, that's not a phrase you expect to hear. I'm sorry to dismiss Williston, but an incredible gallery in Williston, I wouldn't expect that.
Was incredible. And they had actual original Dalís and Picassos.
Wow.
That they had purchased for their own collection.
Sure.
Yeah, pretty incredible. This is an Elizabeth Murray, which David loved the whole kind of how it came out and how it was framed. And I actually like it too. And this is supposedly tennis shoes with the tennis shoe string that have been laying in a road and been driven over several times.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
I love the framing too.
I do too. I think it's really
Julie, how do you get a piece of art like that home? I mean, I guess you just get a great big box.
Yes. And
how?
Again,
and they don't put it in the backyard.
Right. Yeah. And I think we got this one in Williston too when we lived in Minot, so I'm sure we put it in the back of the vehicle.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah. Another Kiki Smith. This is one of my least favorite Kiki Smiths. It was one of David's favorite Kiki Smiths. I think it's strange. She did this in 93, 94, and she did a series of 35, and this is the 20th one.
35 separate triptychs?
No, prints, but each one was a little different.
Sure.
She'd do something differently with these people, or she made, so they were all individual.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little creepy weird.
I think it's creepy weird, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's an art term, but I'll take it.
I don't think so, but. And then this is a Picasso print that we found at the same gallery we found the Chagall.
Okay.
And so another one I just love that.
I do too.
So.
I kind of appreciate any time you can see a piece that you can see the influence of the pieces that made the artist famous, but it's not in the style necessarily of what made them famous. I just find that fascinating.
So it was lovely.
Yeah, it is.
This is an Erin Holscher, and she's originally a Fargo woman.
Oh, okay.
And David got to know about her because he worked, I think, her mother worked in the NICU, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, he worked with her in peds somewhere. And so this is called, I think, Vestige 2, and we have several of her pieces that we really enjoy.
Yeah, that piece is beautiful. Plus, I love little art in big frames.
Right.
I'm a big fan of that.
And it's fun, you know, because David knew her mom, and we met her once when she was home, and that's always, I think, kind of fun.
I think so, too. Yep.
These are both Elizabeth Rothenberg's, who we were, I don't remember, I think the first one we maybe got from Rex and Carol from the Williston Gallery, and then saw the other, they're two different fists, saw the other one and said, gee, we'd like the matching.
Better have a set.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've enjoyed those. And then this one, which I really like, but I cannot remember. I think I must have gotten it at an art auction at the North Dakota Museum of Art, but I have no memory of who it was. And it's not on the back unless I took the whole frame apart, which I'm not going to do.
It's so stunning.
Yeah. I really like it.
I do too.
And this was a nice spot for it.
Yes.
And I think I actually bought this one after David died.
Oh, so it probably had some even deeper, because it's very spiritual.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And this is a Walter Peel, which everyone in North Dakota is familiar with. And we had this commissioned when we lived in Minot. And he was doing not quite such abstract things at the time. And David asked, could you make it a little more abstract?
Is David Blehm the reason Walter Peel is the Walter Peel of today?
I have no idea, but...
Let's say yes.
Yeah, let's say yes. And I actually used this piece because David really enjoyed Walter, as do I.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed knowing him and that he'd done this piece for us. So I used it on the front of the funeral program for David's funeral.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I knew it would mean a lot to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and this
remarkable
icon is interesting. Milena Marikov, which is a local artist, used to do restoration of these types of work in her home country of Bulgaria. Does beautiful work. She's now doing a lot of other artwork, but we had her do an icon for us. And the funniest thing about that is when we walked in, she's a friend of my sister Mary's. When we went over to see the icons, because Mary told us about this, we parked in front of the house and thought, gee, this house seems familiar. And we walked in and realized that's the house we rented for a year. The year we lived in Fargo as first-year medical residents. And then we moved to Des Moines, so we were only there a year. Yeah. So
well, then you had to have it.
We had to have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's beautiful work. she did beautiful job.
Well, yeah, because it looks like it's 500 years old.
Yes, she
Yeah.
does lovely work.
Incredible. All right, so that's the formal music room, family room. Let's move on to the dining room.
This is another Kiki Smith called The Moth.
Oh, that's
And this is
appropriately
one of her
named.
smaller pieces.
That's incredible.
At least of what we have. So, yeah. And again, we saw it. This may be from the Wiederander Gallery in Williston, too, long ago. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
This...
Well, not that long ago, Julie, 1996. I mean, 25 years is not short, but you know, it's not 50 years ago.
No. But yeah, we really like it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's not creepy or weird.
No.
No.
I like it.
I like it too.
This is a self-portrait. Louise Bourgeois, who started coming into her own as an artist, I think, in her 80s. She'd done art before that. I looked her up a little bit prior to this because I'd been told she started doing art in her 80s, but that's not true.
Okay.
But she kind of became more well-known in her 80s.
Wow, that does not look like art from an 80-year-old to me. I don't know what I think it should look like, but that seems very vibrant and youthful to me.
It's kind of a fascinating piece.
Yeah, it is.
So, this is a Carol Hepper, and she's a North Dakota artist who I think now is in New York City. And we got to know her through Laurel Reuter at the North Dakota Museum of Art. And it's a piece she did for us that we asked her to do a piece for us. This is Agatha Rhoda. I have no remembrance. If David were alive, he'd remember, but I don't remember where we purchased it, but it's something we both really liked when we saw it. Again, most of these are prints, other than like Walter's, which is an original.
Sure.
But we loved all the movement, and she really has the body parts and the flexibility down, I think, really beautifully.
It's incredible. It's really provocative.
So, just a lovely piece. This is another Charles Beck, Snow Geese.
Oh,
and I just love his work.
Me too. Never met a Beck I didn't like. Never.
So, yeah, beautiful piece, I think. All three of these are Dan Jones. And this came through one of the arts partnerships.
It did.
And the other two, we purchased this,
I bet that was part of his show at the Museum of Art.
Yeah, I think it was.
That was such an incredible show.
It was a beautiful show.
That was the first time I'd ever been to that museum.
Oh, really?
I was so moved by that show and that space. And
well, the space is wonderful.
That was an extraordinary evening.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, Dan's work is just, you know instantly whose it is, and yet it continues to feel fresh and new.
Yeah, he does a beautiful job.
Yes, he does.
These two pieces I just purchased in the last 12 to 18 months. So Elizabeth Stone is the photographer.
Okay.
And the first photography we saw by her was pretty standard wildlife or animal photography.
Okay.
And then later, and this is after David died, he'd love her work even more now, she started doing this kind of work. And she is married to a very close friend of David's and a friend of mine, so I've become friends with her.
And do they live in Montana?
They live in Montana in a beautiful log cabin home.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like a log cabin, but it's beautiful. And Elizabeth did this piece, I think it's a series of 30, when her mother was going through dementia.
Oh, wow.
And when you look at those, all of her pieces on that, they start mainly blue with different stuff, and it starts with photography. She does a picture. And then the last piece, right before her mother died, is almost all white. And so I chose one, I wanted one of them, that was mid-range in the dementia series. This piece is really fun because she started doing this after my sister Mary and I in 2000, I don't remember, 17, 18, went on a trip on flat-bottom dories, 16 days at the bottom of the Grand Canyon with Elizabeth and Jack. They were the people who said, oh, you need to go with us. And I said, do you have to know how to set up a tent? I don't really camp. No, they'll show you, or they'll do it for you. No, they show you. They don't do it for you. But they have great equipment.
Now.
Yeah, so it was easy. The other thing I asked is, do I have to cook over a campfire? I don't cook much at home. No, they cook everything. And my gosh, the food was fantastic. But
I think it was 18, Julie, because we've been friends. We were friends when you went. I think you went in 2018.
So it was 18. But Jack said when she was taking pictures all over, yeah, Elizabeth takes pictures of rocks and all this stuff, not a picture of this great scenery. So she's done a whole series of that. So this is silver gelatin and, wow. I mean, the work she's done. So I looked at the whole series she's done and picked one because it's so fun having a piece that I felt was part of our trip.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
done
a cool
by
piece. And they're cool together because it's almost like an earthly view, like a space view and a ground view.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
they're
very fun.
Really beautiful together.
And then these are just a series of 3 that Aaron Holscher did. So that we liked.
Yeah.
So
my last question for you, Julie, before we wrap up this incredible tour, is how do you decide how to frame all this? Do you work with somebody,
yes.
or do you, and do you just say to them, frame away?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
that's what I did.
Is really beautiful.
With these. I don't remember where we had these done.
Okay.
I went to, is it Underbrush?
Underbrush,
Gallery?
yeah.
And asked them to frame these for me. And she's who also did the framing of that piece I showed you.
That new piece, yeah. So I just have to tell you this so funny story about Julie, because Julie represents, I think, all great art supporters. Julie and I went together to the North Dakota Museum of Art auction a couple of years ago, and the whole way there, Julie said to me, I'm not buying anything. I don't have any more room. I'm not buying anything. Do not let me buy any art. And I said, okay. And we're sitting there, and the auctioneers are going crazy, and the paddles are going up, and Julie's doing so well. And then all of a sudden, I'm not really paying attention, and I kind of feel like and I look, and Julie's paddle is up. And I say to her, I thought you weren't buying art. Well, I'm just going to drive the price up. Well, you came home with 4 pieces of art that night, Julie Blehm. And the whole time you said to me, I shouldn't be doing this. The paddles were flying. So I will say this, on behalf of artists, I know you buy this because you love it, but I also know you buy it to support artists. And so thank you on behalf of all of these artists for your incredible lifetime of investment in not just the pieces, but the people who make it. Yes. It's incredible. Artists can't live if people don't buy their work.
No, and it's so fun to buy their work when you know them. It really is fun.
Yeah. So this is a taste of Julie's amazing art collection, and hopefully at some point in the future, Julie will open her home up to us again, and we can gather more safely together in person, and then you can see this extraordinary art up close and personal. But thank you so much to Livewire.
Yes.
So that I didn't have to use my cell phone and try to capture any of this. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this tour. Julie, thank you for sharing it.
You are welcome. I hope everyone enjoys it. And thank you, too, to Livewire.
Yeah.
Because Dana and I together trying to use phones, it would have been tough.
That would have been a rough evening. Yes. So here we go. Thanks so much. Oh my gosh, how much did you love that tour? Yesterday when Julie and I were doing this, of course we didn't get to see the finished product, so we watched it along with you and delighted in it. I think as much watching it as we did in recording it, Julie.
Yes, I think so. And I want to add something about framing. Walter Peel's wife, Becky, had a gallery and framing business in Minot, North Dakota. And they did the 2 Kiki Smiths. And they just did beautiful framing work. So another place, if you want to drive to Minot,
Why not?
if she's still got the business, yes.
Well, thank you again to Livewire for that unbelievable tour to capture all of this art without too much glare and to have all of that great B-roll so that you could really see it up close and personal. I think made it as close to being here as you could possibly have hoped, and we're so, so appreciative of that. So we're going to cut to 2 more artists who are letting you know why their music has mattered, and then I'm gonna tell you what Julie is doing next, but she's gonna go off, and then we'll be back in a minute.
Hey, what's up? My name's Ryan Tetzoff, aka Cole Sweat. I'm a hip-hop artist and DJ. Right now, I'm at DSTR Studios in downtown Fargo, and I'm here to tell you thank you and super special shout out to the Arts Partnership. This year, they handed out a bunch of grant money to local artists to help them out during these weird times. I personally will be upgrading my onstage equipment and also my at-home equipment. So once again, thank you. We love you. Keep the party alive.
Hi, my name is Meg Luther Lindholm, and I am an audio producer turned podcaster. I have a podcast that I'm making with the help of an Arts Partnership grant called Uplifted, with a companion blog. And I really have appreciated the support. The grant was, the application was not hard to do. I had a lot of good help and support from the Arts Partnership in doing the application. And I intend to use the funds for things like my audio editing software and the music subscription and the web hosting I need for the podcast. So thank you, Arts Partnership. It has been a great experience so far, and I really appreciate the support.
So we are about to launch our spring campaign, and one of the themes of the campaign this year is what seeds of the arts were planted in you as a young person, because we all can talk about the art class, the music class, the dance teacher, the opportunity to go and make art somewhere. And so when we asked Julie if she would host this event for us, we also asked her if she would be willing to play the piano, because that was her first introduction to the arts. And if you know Julie Blehm, you know she's up for almost anything. If she can do the 16 days in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, playing the piano is nothing. So please enjoy Julie playing the piano.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Manasis with Zen Lily Films. I am producing and directing a World War II documentary about compassion on the battlefield. I'm very excited about this arts partnership grant as it allows me to hire a script writer for my project. And the application process for this grant was pretty smooth, and it definitely helps hone my skills as a producer director. Thank you, Arts Partnership.
Hello, my name's John Offit. I was lucky enough to get a grant from the Arts Partnership to purchase a large glass kiln as another tool in my glass studio, where I'll be taking some of my blown glass vessels and deconstructing them, making them flat. This kind of work's going to be a lot easier on the whole body.
Hi, my name is Kwaisian Trailer. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and I'm very excited to be awarded one of the Arts Partnership grants this year. What I'm going to do with the money is just continue to build the quality of the studio and the quality of my video recordings. Appreciate you all so much. Thank you.
So that was just a taste of some of the grantees who won awards from us this year. We had more than 50 applicants. We were able to give grants to 10 artists for a total of $20,500, which is no small feat when you consider that in 2013, we started giving grants to artists for the first time. We gave 5 grants for a total of $2,500. So artists today have come a long, long way because the Arts Partnership has come a long way because of you. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about the need of artists, because no one who has been paying attention to anything in the past year is unaware of how tremendous the need is for really every sector. But the arts, of course, have taken a tremendous hit. And thankfully, we've had federal investments, we've had local and state investments, and we have had private investment. Many of you who are watching did not just support the Arts Partnership, but you are the backbone of the arts sector in this community. It's why we could not gather together as a whole group tonight. I kept joking and saying, if something were to happen to the donors at Artful Evening, the entire sector would fall apart, because you really take care of so many of us, and you do it so joyously and so generously. And on behalf of the arts in Fargo-Moorhead, please know how grateful we all are. So we were very lucky this year. An anonymous donor came to an organization in Minneapolis-St. Paul called Springboard for the Arts and said that they wanted to support artists in the Upper Midwest. And they wanted to do it with virtually no strings attached. And so they gave Springboard, I imagine, about $1 million. And Springboard called us and gave us $40,000 plus $8,000 to manage the $40,000. And our only task was to get it into the hands of artists, not organizations, artists. So I want to tell you specifically what we did with that money. $15,000 of the $20,000 that we gave in grants this spring came from that donor. We gave 12 emergency grants to artists for $5,000. We supported an entire year of free art rent at our arts incubator space, Aptitude at West Acres. So every artist who is in there right now is there for free for 6 months or a 1-year contract. You can't imagine what that money did. We would have had $5,000 to give to artists this year, and you've seen from the videos that the need was there. There's more need than we could even come close to fulfilling. And that is where I am here talking to you. More artists need more support, more than ever. So you're watching this video because you've already donated, and I could not be more grateful. So I come to you humbly asking you to consider giving more. You can give online at theartspartnership.net. I know that Tanya very smartly put donation cards into your envelopes. You can call us. Believe me, if you want me to come to your house and pick up a check, I will come to your house and pick up a check. So however you think you can do more to support the artists and the arts sector in this community through the Arts Partnership, we know that we can only do what we do because you do what you do. And you have never let us down, and I know that you will do everything you can this year to support this work because I know that you know how important it is. When a community is filled with artists and arts organizations and they are thriving, that tells you everything else is thriving too. And when they are not doing well, you know that's a community that's in trouble. I'm here to tell you we are not a community in trouble. And we are not a community in trouble because you have consistently shown up. So I'm asking you again to show up. I'm gonna tell you my goal is $30,000 because that's always my goal for this night and we've never met it. But 2021 could be our year. I have no doubt that we could get to that number. So thank you again for all you've done. Thank you to Julie Blehm for opening up her house. Thank you to Livewire. If you could see the number of Livewire guys here, all masked and safely distancing, you would think we were doing the Oscars. There's a lot of Livewire people here making sure that this event looks as good as it does. Thank you to Sarah Watson and Blackboard. I hope that you enjoyed Sarah's beautiful food. They were so thrilled. As we are moving into summer and you are making your way out to the Pelican Rapids, Vergas area, be sure and make a reservation and stop at Blackboard. Thanks to Nicole Henson. Nicole premiered a new dessert. If yours looks a little bit topsy-turvy, I'm very sorry. We delivered as quickly as we could, and I know it tasted great because mine did, but it did not look as beautiful as it did. So she's going to start selling those, but they premiered here. So be sure that you let her know how beautiful that dessert was. Nikki Berglund and Bernice, who always takes great care of us. And then finally, but absolutely most importantly, thank you. I know you get a lot of asks. I know your money can go a million different places. And the fact that you give any of it to the Arts Partnership, much less how much you generously give, means so, so much to me. I cannot imagine living in this community without you. And I am so grateful for you. So thank you for being with us tonight. I hope that you continue to stay safe. I hope to see you in person sooner than later when we can all be together again. Have a beautiful night and a great weekend. And thank you for supporting local art. Bye-bye.